Hi, we'd like to introduce you to the planetary calendar, and we're the astrologers, Ralph and Lonnie D'Amicus. We've been the publishers and astrologers for this calendar for many years, but it started in 1949.
Yes.
We're not that old.
No.
But we used the calendar. We started as professional astrologers in 1972, so we're pretty old.
Yes.
And we used this calendar that was created by Louis Pigeon in 1949. He created it for his students to use as a teaching tool and a daily guide for life living on Earth with the surrounding planets.
As we know, anytime you learn anything, it's when you get to use it on a daily basis that you really learn it. We can get the theory, you can get the concepts, but when you apply it to your life and then you see the results, that's how you learn a topic. And it's very true with astrology as well.
When he passed away, we didn't want to let the calendar die. So over time, we first became the calculating astrologers for it. And then in 2017, we added it to our publishing catalog. And we are now the publishers and authors of the calendar. And we've always had a saying that we use to describe the way we practice astrology, and that is that astrology is a tool, not a toy. And in order to use it, you have to have the best tools for all the information that you need.
And historically, astrology has always been used strategically, about planning how to do things at certain times. That concept of in every season, there are tasks that you have to do. And so when we put the calendar together, we focus on that. How are you going to plan strategically? Now, the calendar is quite different from most other astrological calendars. First of all, there's no sun sign section. This month you are born in Aries, therefore this is what your month is going to be like. We don't do that. And the reason is that would apply to 500 million people. It's a little general.
And everybody knows their sun sign, and
Right.
we don't need the pretty pictures. We need the nice, informative glyphs.
Right. So this is really an astrology calendar. It's about the astrology. It's about the events coming up. So instead of just these 12 forecasts in the course of the year, we actually track about 100 plus different dates during the year when significant events are going to happen that are going to affect people. And so as a result, right at the very beginning, in the introduction, we outline certain dates, periods of times when you need to watch out. Like, for instance, when are the eclipses? Those times between the eclipses are tricky. You got to not plan important things then. When are going to be the Mercury retrogrades, the famous or infamous Mercury retrogrades? When are those going to be happening? And what are the big major events? For instance, our major outer planets changing sign. This is really changes the dynamic in the world and the global dynamics that are going on. So we focus on these types of big events and how are they going to affect you.
And how about those tricky little void of course moons?
Yes.
They trip up more than one person. So we make sure that that's a very prominent thing that's easy to read in the calendar. And when we took over the calendar, the original calendar was this size, 9 by 7.
Yes.
And over time, we felt that it needed to be modernized and brought into the 21st century. We have a digital version. We have a larger wall size because some of the people's arms were getting too short. They couldn't read the calendar on the wall.
Some of us have big hands.
Yeah, and we have a little pocket, a mini pocket, now a day planner, his favorite and my favorite.
Yes.
And so there's something for everybody. And I want to mention that you don't have to be a professional astrologer to make use of this tool. You can use it as little as you want or as much as you want. And there are many pages of instructions and tips that guide you along your way.
Exactly. It's designed for whatever your level of knowledge is. It will be accessible to you. Now, the cool thing is, if you read the instructions, it's very important to read the instructions because it uses actually a visually very intuitive system. As you go through the year, your knowledge of astrology and how to use it strategically will improve. You will be smarter at the end of the year when it comes to astrology than you were at the beginning of the year. I mean, that's really cool. Also, the way it's laid out is different. You see, most astrology calendars simply list all the aspects. Oh, that's kind of helpful, I guess. Usually in very tiny type. We do everything in larger type so you can read it. Very important. If you can't read it, you can't use it. But what we do, and this came from Lewis, he laid it out in such a way that the aspects to the moon, which are the personal emotional things, are to the left side, to the center and to the left side of each day block. And he laid it out that the planetary and solar aspects, which tend to be the bigger aspects that relate to the outer world, are on the right. The ones that are supportive and easy are above, and the ones that are challenging or productive are below. And then, of course, the important things like holidays are at the top. When planets change sign are at the top.
Or change direction.
Change direction, exactly. And then when you have the voids, of course, and when the moon is going to change sign is in the lower section.
Also, the lunations are noted at the top.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you have all these different dynamics that are easy to read because you can look at it and say, oh, there's lots of stuff going on in the upper top part of the block. And it relates to the moon. This is going to be a social day. We need to go out. We need to go do stuff and talk to people. Or everything's off to the right and, things are going to change. Or everything's off to the right to the bottom. There's going to be some challenging issues going on here in terms of overall society.
There's work to be done on some level.
Yeah, exactly. And you can spot this very quickly. Now, once you know the planets that relate most strongly to you, for instance, if you're born in Virgo, you're very mercurial. When you spot where these planets are they above, are they below, you know that it's going to be a day in which you can use your talents most effectively, or if your talents are going to be demanded more consistently in the course of the day. But it's very easy to spot these things once you know the basic instructions.
So the welcome to the calendar will change every year because we try not to make too many more changes. Yes. We've changed it a lot since 2017. We've added features.
Yes.
And this year, it really is just a little fine-tuning. Yes. We really didn't change anything much, although we did enlarge the size of the font.
Yes.
And we listen to people's constructive criticism, and we try to implement ideas that you have whenever we can.
In fact, that's been one of the ways the calendar has improved dramatically is when we became the publishers, which I guess was 2017. We'd been the publishers since 2000.
The authors.
The authors. 2000. Sorry. We'd been the authors. We'd been doing the calculations and writing the forecast. And then 17, we took over the overall design as well. We reached out to our friends in the astrological community and to the people using the calendars. It mostly goes out directly to people and asked them for ideas. And people came back with them. And many of them were good ideas. And we implemented them into the calendars. And it's dramatically improved, I think, since 2017.
And one thing that we did right away, which really made a lot of sense for a calendar that hangs on the wall, the instructions were always in the inside of the front cover.
Right.
And that meant that when you hung it on the wall, then you cover up all the instruction pages with the months. So we moved them to the back. And that way, no matter what month you're in, it's easy to lift up the calendar pages and refer back to any of the instructions that you need to refresh on. We also added a full ephemeris, digital ephemeris in the back as well. So those were some of the major things we did right away.
Now, if the word ephemeris scares you, okay, because you're not that familiar with it, it means where the planets traveling, where are they moving in the course of the month or the year. And astrologers have used ephemeris for centuries. But we also, in each month, have a monthly ephemeris, and it's a plain language. It's an English ephemeris. So it says Mercury enters whatever sign at this time on this date, and then it's going to enter the next sign, or it's going to go retrograde, and it's all plain language. And next to it is the glyph, so you can see, oh, that's what the glyph is. Now, a suggestion that came to us from one of our grandchildren was that they would forget what symbol meant which word, which was this
Sign or aspect.
was this the right symbol for Mars or not? Most people know Mars, but we put a key on each month so that people could read it, and then additionally, in the next year, we added keywords. So it would say a particular sign, Libra, it would have the word, the symbol, and then it would say balance, the need to balance. So it gave actions, it gave, personalities. And so you have a very, very quick key that people could refer to and remind themselves. So these are the kinds of things that we added. The annotated forecast is connected to the day block. So when you go to the day block, you'll see an asterisk, and you look at the date, it tells you go back to the forecast, look at that date, and it will tell you what's happening on that date.
Something specific or of note is happening that we wanted to expound on, make sure you notice.
Now, one of the things we changed to when we first got the calendar, the pocket version was essentially the original version shrunk down, and it made things very tiny. One of the things we did was we changed it. We added more pages.
We changed the orientation from this calendar type to a book type. And in doing that, we doubled the size of the grid because the grid had to fit here when it was this direction, when it was landscape. Yeah. And in portrait, that gave us the ability to spread it out over 2 pages. So it is almost the same size as that smaller original calendar, the 9x7, is right now. So it's much easier to read for aging eyes or anybody with a little bit of difficulty in reading.
Exactly. And then the other thing that happens when we were talking to bookstores, because we've always been sold directly, the calendar has always been sold directly to consumers. We started going out to bookstores. One of the things we had done was the original covers were very, very simple. We started using photos from NASA to make them beautiful. So we spend a lot of time figuring out which planet or star should go on the cover each year.
Yeah, instead of having a centerfold, we've got the cover planet.
Exactly.
Who's going to be noted this year?
And the bookstore said, we really would like a day planner, so we came up with a day planner. And the cool thing with the day planner is we could add additional things. We could put the charts in there. So people who are very into astrology and like seeing the chart, we could have the charts for the new moon, the full moon, and the ingress into the next sign. We normally have a bonus chapter, and actually the bonus chapter that we have in it is actually from this book, which is called Reclaiming Astrology from the Patriarchy. It's our newest book, and it's a chapter from there which talks about what was the original meaning of the signs and the original symbols of the signs before they were changed, about 350 AD. If you want to know more about how to do astrology, there's a companion book which is called Planetary Calendar Astrology, which goes into details about how we work. Because every astrologer works in a slightly different way. There's all different schools of astrology, but we've been practicing together
since 1972.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to say. If you want to do the math, don't embarrass us.
And because we work as a team and we do our consultations as a team, it's very fun. I think people consult with us. They say, we're consulting with both of you? Yes, you are.
That means double the information.
And we record it all just for that reason because...
And 2 points of view.
Points of view. And so in the years we've refined it. So our astrology has become very balanced. And we're great believers in that when you do your interpretations, they should be very balanced between the two polarities. And you'll find that our forecasts are very much like that. We're great advocates for that because we believe that makes for better forecasts, it makes for better interpretations, it makes for a better understanding of who people are when you look at their charts. So have we left anything out about the calendar?
I don't think so, but if we did, please feel free to call and leave us a message, and I will get back to you on our phone line. Yeah. And we look forward to meeting you and having you join our family of calendar fans.
Yeah. And remember, you can find us at www.planetarycalendar.com. And you can follow us on YouTube, where we do our weekly forecast at Planetary Calendar Astrology. So, until next time.
Thanks for listening.
Be well.